Good morning, everyone. This is Beverly with her daily word of inspiration, and I am actually reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through, I'm going to maybe try to go all the way through 11. Let's see where we go with this, okay? So let's dive into the word of the Lord today together. It says, to everything there is a season, a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which was planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break it down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he hath labored? I have seen the travail which God hath given the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. And the scriptures talk about God's design for life. He gives life's orders of events. Life is full of changes. Every day something is changing in our life. Nothing will ever stay the same. Life is full of changes, isn't it? And I love it because it starts off where there's a time to be born and there's a time to die. We all have been born into this world. We all, see the birth of a child in this world, and we rejoice at the time of a birth of a child. A baby that is born into this world is such a beautiful gift from God. But that life, from the moment we are born, that life is changing every day. And there was that day of birth, and there will be the day of death. And it is going to happen to each and every one of us. And the older I get, the more I think about it. I'm already in the last quarter of my life, and I know the day is coming where I will take my last breath. And there is, but I know in whom I trust. I know my faith is in God, and with that, we don't have fear of death. There is a time to pluck and a time to plant. There's a time to plant and there's a time to pluck up that was planted. There's seasons in everything. There's a time to weep and there's a time to laugh. When we lose someone we love, there's that time of weeping. But then when you start remembering that person and remembering all the things that you did with that person and that the silliness of that person and all the crazy things that you did together and throughout this life with that person, you start laughing. Weeping and only is for a season, and then laughter will come again. And so life has seasons, and we've got to remember who is the God that created all these seasons. I wish life would stay at one point. If you'd find a point in your life that life is so good, there's no struggles, there's no trials, there's no heartache, there's no brokenness, there's no sickness. Life is just beautiful. Tiptoe through the tulips. that if you can get to that point, that life would just stay there. But life doesn't. Life happens. Life changes. We just have to know in whom we put our trust. Who is in control over every situation that happens in our life. I have had much joy in my life. I have 6 beautiful babies that God has given me. I have 6 beautiful grandchildren that God has given me. Look at these are tears that are building up, talking about my blessings. They're blessings, but yet the tears of joy. You know, I have been so blessed. I have had so many good things in my life with the life that I have lived. But I've also had hard times. I have gone through situations. I've lost 2 parents. I've lost a brother. You know, I have cried many tears. But laughter has come when I think about all the times I spent with them. All the silly things we did. The laughter comes. The tears fade. And the joy comes back. I have gone through, heartache and brokenness. But through that heartache and that brokenness, I have learned the love of God. I have learned the faithfulness of God. I have learned the mercies of God. I have learned the compassion of God. And so there are seasons. We always like the seasons that we go through? Not always. The seasons that are good and joyful, we love those seasons. We don't like the seasons that bring heartache, that bring hurt, that bring maybe sickness, that brings sadness. We don't like those seasons. But in those seasons, we grow. We grow in a closer relationship with God if we go through those seasons with God, with Jesus. If we walk through the seasons with Jesus, we grow into a deeper relationship with Him. We grow to be more Christ-like in those seasons. It all depends on who you're walking those seasons with. I know me. I don't want to walk the seasons by myself. I want to walk the seasons with God. Because Scripture says that God never changes. Life will change. Seasons will come and seasons will go. But I am thankful that I can hold on to the hand that never changes. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and forever. I am so thankful that He doesn't change. Society will change. People will change. Environments will change. Cultures will change. But I am so thankful that God never does. He stays the same, ever faithful, ever loyal, ever true, ever merciful. Malachi chapter 3, verse 6, it says, I am the Lord, and I do not change. We can hold on to the unchanging hand of God. And I am so, so grateful for that. In Numbers chapter 3, verse 19, God is not a man that He should change or lie. There's so many scriptures that talk about how God never changes. He is the same from the beginning of when He created everything. He is the same until we take our last breath. Until the end of this world, He never changes. So no matter what season you're in, if it's a season of joy or a season of sorrow, if it's a season of mourning or a season of laughing, if it is a season of sickness or a season of health, know in whom you trust, know in whom you serve, And know that when you go through each season, you're not alone. You're never alone when you walk with God. You're never alone. He walks with you. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. We know, even though we walk through valleys, we know who walks with us in that valley. It's always, I don't know if any of you have ever heard, and I know some of you probably have, is that the poem of the footprints in the sand. When you're walking, you see two sets of footprints. You see yours and God's. And then there's a time where you only see one. And in your mind, you're like, God, where are you? But God never left us. It was during those times that God was carrying us through the heartache, through the struggles, through the brokenness, through the sadness, through the sorrows. There's a time to dance, and there's a time of weeping. Know that when we dance, he dances with us. When we weep, he weeps with us. When we rejoice, he rejoices with us. When we're suffering, he suffers with us. Jesus Christ, he knows our afflictions. He knows where we're at. And so, like I said, life is full of seasons. From the moment we're born until we take our last breath, we're going to go through seasons. Just hold on. Hold on to the Master's hands. Don't let go. Don't let go of God, because we need him. We need him through our seasons. We need him. He's the one that gave us these seasons. We might not understand it. We might not always understand when things are happening in our life. But know that God is the one that is in control of the seasons. Think about the 4 seasons we go through. If we didn't go through winter, we wouldn't see the beauty of spring. We wouldn't see the beauty of the flowers blossoming. We wouldn't see the beauty of birth of new creation. We go through those seasons to bring forth something more beautiful. And I know we don't always understand it. But I know that what I understand is God is in control of it all. He is in control of every breath we breathe. He is in control of every step we take. He is in control of every single thing that happens in our life, from the beginning to the end. So hold on. Hold on in whatever season you're in right now. Hold on to him. Hold on to his promises. Hold on to his presence. Don't walk away from the presence of God when you feel like things aren't where they need to be right now in your life. You feel like, God, where are you? God, I'm dealing with this sickness. I'm dealing with this sadness. I'm dealing with anxiety. I'm dealing with depression. I'm dealing with the loss of a loved one. I'm dealing with a marriage that is broken. I'm dealing with kids that are not right with you. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. This is not the time to let go, because God is in control of it all. Put it in his hands. Come to the foot of the cross. Lay it at the feet of Jesus. He is working all things out for the good of those that serve him. We might not see it right now, but remember, we walk by faith and not by sight. We don't walk by what we see. We walk by what his word says. And his word says that he is with us. His word says that he'll never leave us nor forsake us. His word says that all things work together for the good to those that serve him. All things work together for the good. Remember that. I hope this encourages you today. Like I said, I don't know where you're at in your life. I don't know what season you're going through. But know that God is with you through whatever you're going through. If you keep your eyes focused on Him, you keep yourself before the foot of the cross, and you hold on to the hem of His garment and you don't let go, know that He is with you. I love you all. Be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful day.